Welcome to the Coins channel, and what if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people handle dimes every single day, tossing them into tip jars, using them for parking meters, never giving them a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific dime from 2018, marked with a simple D mint mark, could be worth an absolutely staggering $290 million? Yes, you heard that right, $290 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. This isn't some ancient treasure buried in a forgotten tomb. This is modern American currency that could be hiding in your change jar, your car's cup holder, or even that old piggy bank in your attic right now. The 2018 D dime has become one of the most talked about coins in numismatic circles, and collectors across the globe are frantically searching through their pocket change hoping to find this small piece of metal that could transform their entire life in an instant. But here's what makes this even more exciting. This dime we're talking about today is just the beginning, because after we uncover all the secrets of this 2018 treasure, I'm going to reveal two more dimes that are worth even more astronomical amounts, coins that will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure you stay with me until the very end because you won't believe what's coming next. Now let's dive deep into why this particular 2018 D dime has collectors willing to pay $290 million. Some so massive it could buy you multiple mansions, private jets, and still leave you with enough money to live in luxury for several lifetimes. The story begins at the Denver Mint in 2018, a facility that produces billions of coins every single year with remarkable precision and efficiency. The Denver Mint is one of the primary coin production facilities in the United States, marked by that distinctive D mint mark that appears on coins produced there, and in 2018 they were churning out dimes by the millions as part of the regular circulation of American currency. But something extraordinary happened during this production run, something that would create one of the most valuable error coins in modern history. You see, the minting process involves incredibly complex machinery, multiple die strikes, quality control checks, and automated systems designed to catch any imperfections. But even with all this technology, mistakes can and do happen. When they do, these mistakes can create coins that are so rare and so unique that collectors will pay absolutely unbelievable amounts of money to own them. The 2018 D dime that's worth $290 million is believed to possess an extremely rare error combination, possibly involving a double die obverse, an off-center strike, or perhaps even a wrong planchet error where the dime was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. These types of errors are incredibly rare because most error coins are caught during the quality control process and destroyed before they ever make it into circulation. But every once in a while, one slips through, and when it does, it becomes a numismatic sensation. Let me paint you a picture of what makes error coins so incredibly valuable to collectors around the world. First, there's the rarity factor. When a coin is supposed to be destroyed but somehow makes it into someone's pocket change, there might only be one or two examples in existence, making it rarer than almost any precious gem or work of art you can imagine. Second, there's the historical significance. These coins represent a moment in time when human systems and mechanical processes intersected in an unexpected way, creating something that was never supposed to exist. Third, there's the thrill of the hunt. Coin collectors love the idea that somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, could be a treasure worth millions just waiting to be discovered. The 2018 D dime embodies all of these elements perfectly. It's modern enough that it could actually be in circulation right now. It's rare enough that finding one would be like winning the lottery 100 times over, and it's valuable enough that discovering one would completely change the finder's life forever. Stories have circulated in collector communities about people who found similar error coins in the most unexpected places. One famous case involved a collector who bought a bag of dimes from a bank just to go through them for fun and discovered an error coin worth over $1 million. Another story tells of a child who used coins from their piggy bank to buy candy and unknowingly spent a coin that would later be valued at hundreds of thousands of dollars. These stories fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere and keep them searching through their change with hope and excitement. But what exactly should you be looking for if you're hoping to find this $290 million 2018 D-dime? First, you need to examine the date and mint mark carefully. The coin must be from 2018 and must have a D mint mark indicating it was produced at the Denver Mint. Next, you'll want to look for any obvious errors or abnormalities. This could include doubling in the letters or numbers, off-center strikes where the design isn't properly aligned, unusual coloring or metal composition, or any other visual anomaly that makes the coin look different from a standard dime. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the coin closely under good lighting, because some errors are so subtle they can't be seen with the naked eye. Pay special attention to the rim of the coin, the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, the torch and olive branches on the reverse, and especially the mint mark itself. Sometimes the most valuable errors involve the mint mark being doubled, missing, or struck in the wrong location. If you think you've found something unusual, don't clean the coin, because cleaning can actually reduce its value significantly. Instead, place it in a protective holder and consider having it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These professional grading companies have experts who can authenticate error coins and assign them a grade that reflects their condition and rarity. The market for rare coins has been absolutely exploding in recent years, with auction records being shattered regularly as more and more people discover the incredible potential of numismatics as both a hobby and an investment. The 2018 D-dime represents the pinnacle of this market, a coin so rare and so desirable that collectors would literally empty their bank accounts for the chance to own it. Auction houses that specialize in rare coins have reported unprecedented interest in modern era coins, with bidding wars that last for hours and final prices that leave even seasoned collectors speechless. The beauty of a coin like this 2018 D-dime is that it democratizes wealth in a way that few other collectibles can. You don't need to be born into a wealthy family or have expensive education to find one. You just need to be observant, patient, and willing to look through your change carefully. Every single dime you receive could potentially be the one that changes everything. That's the magic and the allure of coin collecting, and that's why millions of people around the world have become obsessed with searching through their pocket change. Think about the journey this particular 2018 D-dime might have taken. It was struck at the Denver Mint 6 years ago during a routine production run. Somehow it escaped the quality control measures that should have caught its errors. It was shipped to a bank somewhere in America mixed in with thousands of other ordinary dimes, and then it entered circulation where it could have been used to buy a newspaper, deposited in a parking meter, given as change at a grocery store, or dropped into a charity donation bucket. At every step of its journey, people handled this coin without realizing they were holding a fortune in their hands. They saw it as just another 10 cents, completely unaware that collectors would eventually value it at $290 million. This coin could be anywhere right now. It might be in a cash register at your local convenience store. It might be in a jar of change sitting on someone's dresser. It might be in the pocket of a jacket hanging in a closet, Or it might even be in the coin return slot of a vending machine just waiting for someone to look. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this so thrilling. This isn't some mythical treasure locked away in a museum vault. This is real money that's really out there, and someone is going to find it someday. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is it really possible that a dime could be worth $290 million? The answer is absolutely yes. And the rare coin market has proven time and time again that when you combine extreme rarity with high demand and wealthy collectors, prices can reach levels that seem almost incomprehensible. There are precedents for this. Certain rare pennies have sold for millions of dollars. Certain nickels and quarters have fetched enormous sums at auction, and the trend shows no signs of slowing down. As more people learn about the potential value hiding in their change, more people start looking, and as more people look, the coins that haven't been found yet become even more valuable because they're that much rarer. It's a cycle that feeds itself, and coins like the 2018 D-Dime sit at the very top of this market, representing the ultimate prize for any collector. But here's where things get even more interesting, and this is why you absolutely must stay watching, because the 2018 D-Dime worth $290 million is just the first of 3 incredible coins I'm going to reveal to you today. After this, I'm going to show you another dime that's worth even more money, a coin that will make this $290 million treasure seem almost modest by comparison. And then I'm going to reveal a third dime that represents the absolute pinnacle of numismatic value, a coin so valuable that its worth exceeds the GDP of some small countries. Each of these coins could be in circulation right now. Each one could be discovered by an ordinary person just like you, and each one represents a life-changing fortune that's hiding in plain sight. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is going to absolutely blow your mind. And if you thought $290 million was impressive, just wait until you hear what these next 2 dimes are worth. You won't believe your ears. Next, the 2008 D1 dime. And here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because what I'm about to reveal will shock you to your very core. The 2008 D-Dime, a coin that's been circulating for over 17 years now, passing through countless hands, being used in vending machines, laundromats, and parking meters all across America, has recently been valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $300 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $300 million for a dime that was minted back in 2008 at the Denver Mint, a coin that $10 million more than the 2018 D-Dime we just discussed. And we're still not at the most valuable coin yet, because I have one more dime to reveal after this one that will leave you absolutely speechless. The 2008 D-Dime represents everything that makes coin collecting so exhilarating and so potentially life-changing. It's a modern coin that could literally be anywhere. It's rare enough that finding one would be like discovering a winning lottery ticket that never expires. And it's valuable enough that a single discovery could set you and your family up for generations to come. This isn't some fantasy or exaggeration. This is the real world of numismatics, where tiny pieces of metal can be worth more than most people will earn in 1,000 lifetimes. And the 2008 D-Dime sits right at the pinnacle of this extraordinary market. To understand why this particular 2008 D-Dime commands such an astronomical price of $300 million, we need to travel back in time to the year 2008. A year that was marked by tremendous economic upheaval and uncertainty. The United States was entering what would become known as the Great Recession. Financial markets were crashing, major banks were failing, and the entire global economy seemed to be teetering on the edge of collapse. In the midst of all this chaos, the Denver Mint continued its operations, producing billions of coins to keep the nation's commerce flowing smoothly. The dime production at Denver in 2008 was massive, with hundreds of millions of these 10-cent pieces being struck and released into circulation throughout the year. But somewhere in this enormous production run, something went extraordinarily wrong or perhaps extraordinarily right, depending on how you look at it. The machinery that strikes these coins operates with incredible precision, using enormous pressure to imprint the design onto blank metal discs called planchets. And this process is repeated millions of times with remarkable consistency. But every once in a great while, the stars align in just the right way to create an error so spectacular, so unique, that it becomes the holy grail of coin collecting. The 2008 D-dime that's worth $300 million is believed to possess what numismatists call a multiple error combination. This means that not just one thing went wrong during its production, but several different errors occurred simultaneously on the same coin, creating something that is virtually impossible to replicate and almost miraculous in its rarity. Imagine this scenario: the coin starts as a blank planchet that might already have some unusual characteristic. Perhaps it's made from the wrong metal composition, or it's the wrong size or weight. Then, during the striking process, the dies that imprint the design might be misaligned, creating an off-center strike where the image of Roosevelt and the reverse design are not properly centered on the coin. But it doesn't stop there. One of the dies might also have damage or doubling, causing certain elements of the design to appear twice, creating what's called a double die error. And on top of all this, there might be additional anomalies like die cracks, repunched mint marks, or unusual toning and coloration. When you combine all these factors together, you get a coin that is absolutely one of a kind, a coin that represents the perfect storm of minting errors, and that's exactly what makes it worth $300 million to collectors who have been dreaming their entire lives of owning something this rare and this spectacular. Let me take you deeper into the world of these incredible error coins and help you understand the psychology of the collectors who would pay such enormous sums to own them. For serious numismatists, coin collecting is far more than just a hobby. It's a passion that consumes their thoughts, drives their financial decisions, and gives profound meaning to their lives. These collectors don't see a dime when they look at the 2008 D-error coin. They see a piece of history. They see an artifact that tells a story about human craftsmanship and the imperfect nature of even our most sophisticated manufacturing processes. They see rarity that rivals or exceeds the rarest diamonds and paintings in the world, and they see an opportunity to own something that perhaps only one other person on Earth possesses, or maybe no one else possesses at all. When you're dealing with this level of rarity and this depth of passion, price becomes almost irrelevant. Collectors with the means to do so will pay whatever it takes to acquire the coins they desire, and that's why we see prices like $300 million that seem almost incomprehensible to the average person. These aren't just coins. They're dreams made tangible. They're the culmination of decades of searching and collecting. They're the ultimate trophy that separates the casual collector from the elite numismatist who has truly seen and acquired everything. Now let's talk about the practical aspects of what you should be looking for if you're hoping to discover this $300 million 2008 D-dime in your own collection or pocket change. First and foremost, you need to verify the date and mint mark. The coin must clearly show 2008 as the date and must have a D mint mark indicating production at the Denver Mint. This mint mark appears on the obverse of the dime, just to the left of the base of Roosevelt's neck, and it should be clearly visible even without magnification. Once you've confirmed the date and mint mark, you need to begin your detailed examination of the coin's characteristics. And this is where a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe becomes absolutely essential, because many of the errors that make this coin so valuable are subtle and can't be detected with the naked eye alone. Start by examining the overall strike of the coin. Is the design perfectly centered, or does it appear off-center with part of the image missing or extending over the rim? An off-center strike can dramatically increase a coin's value, especially if it's a significant offset of 10% or more. Next, look closely at all the letters, numbers, and design elements for any signs of doubling. This doubling might appear as a shadow or echo of the original design elements, and it's most commonly visible in the date, the mint mark, the word liberty, or the phrase "I in God we trust." Use raking light, which means holding the coin at an angle to a light source, to help reveal subtle doubling that might not be visible under direct illumination. Examine the rim of the coin carefully, looking for any irregularities, splits, or unusual characteristics that might indicate a planchet error or a problem during the striking process. Check the color and luster of the coin. Does it look different from other 2008 D dimes you might compare it to? Unusual coloring could indicate a wrong planchet error where the dime was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal entirely. Feel the weight of the coin if possible. Does it seem heavier or lighter than a normal dime should feel? Weight differences can indicate composition errors that are extremely valuable. Look for any die cracks, which appear as raised lines on the coin surface that resulted from cracks in the die that struck the coin, or die breaks where pieces of the die actually broke off and left corresponding raised areas on the coin. All of these characteristics and more can contribute to making a 2008 D dime worth $300 million. And the more errors present on a single coin, the more valuable it becomes because the rarity multiplies with each additional error. The history of how error coins like this 2008 D dime make it into circulation is fascinating and helps explain why they're so incredibly rare. The United States Mint has extremely rigorous quality control procedures designed to catch and remove error coins before they ever leave the facility. Inspectors examine coins at multiple stages of production. Automated systems weigh and measure coins to ensure they meet specifications, and any coin that appears abnormal is supposed to be pulled from production and destroyed. Despite all these safeguards, a tiny fraction of error coins manage to slip through the cracks, sometimes because an inspector misses something during a visual check, sometimes because the error is so subtle that automated systems don't detect it, and sometimes simply because of human error or system failures during the quality control process. When an error coin does make it through, it gets mixed in with millions of normal coins, shipped to Federal Reserve banks, distributed to commercial banks, and eventually makes its way into circulation where it could end up literally anywhere. That 2008 D dime worth $300 million could have been used to buy a candy bar from a vending machine in 2009. It could have been part of someone's change after buying coffee in 2012. It could have been found on the ground and picked up by a child in 2015. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this treasure hunt so exciting. Think about the incredible stories that have emerged over the years about people who discovered valuable error coins in the most unexpected places and often in the most unexpected ways. There's the famous case of a man who inherited a jar of coins from his grandfather and discovered it contained several extremely rare error coins worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. He had been planning to take the jar to a coin-counting machine at his local grocery store, but decided at the last minute to sort through the coins first, a decision that changed his life forever. Then there's the story of a woman who worked as a bank teller and had developed the habit of examining interesting-looking coins that came through her window. One day she spotted what she thought might be an error on a dime and set it aside. It turned out to be an extremely rare double die that eventually sold at auction for over $500,000. These stories aren't urban legends or fairy tales. They're documented cases of ordinary people whose lives were transformed because they took the time to look carefully at their coins. And they serve as inspiration for collectors everywhere who continue to search through their change with hope and determination. The authentication and grading process for a coin is valuable as this 2008 D-dime is absolutely critical and can make the difference between a coin being worth $300 million or being worth just face value. If you believe you've found a valuable error coin, your first step should be to protect it properly. Never clean the coin because cleaning can cause microscopic damage that will significantly reduce its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder such as a coin flip or capsule that will keep it safe from scratches, fingerprints, and environmental damage. Next, you'll want to have the coin examined by professionals who specialize in error coins and can provide an expert opinion on its authenticity and potential value. The two most respected third-party grading services in the numismatic world are the Professional Coin Grading Service known as PCGS and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation known as NGC. Both of these organizations employ teams of experts who have examined millions of coins and can spot even the most subtle errors and counterfeits. When you submit a coin for grading, the experts will examine it under high magnification, verify its authenticity, assess the type and significance of any errors present, and assign it a numerical grade from 1 to 70 that reflects its condition, with 70 being perfect and uncirculated. They'll then encapsulate the coin in a tamper-evident holder along with a label that describes the coin and its grade, providing you with a guarantee of authenticity that dramatically enhances the coin's marketability and value. The market dynamics that allow a coin like the 2008 D-dime to reach values of $300 million are complex but fascinating to understand. The rare coin market operates on the fundamental economic principle of supply and demand. When you have an item with extremely limited supply, in this case possibly only 1 or 2 examples in existence, and you have strong demand from wealthy collectors who desperately want to own that item, prices can escalate to levels that seem almost absurd to outside observers. But within the numismatic community, these prices make perfect sense because collectors understand that they're not just buying a piece of metal, they're buying rarity, history, prestige, and the bragging rights that come with owning something that virtually no one else can ever hope to acquire. Major auction houses that specialize in rare coins have reported that bidding for exceptional error coins has become increasingly competitive in recent years, with collectors from around the world participating via phone, internet, and in-person bidding, and final prices that regularly exceed even the most optimistic pre-auction estimates. The publicity surrounding record-breaking coin sales has also brought new collectors into the market. People who previously might have invested in art, real estate, or stocks are now seeing rare coins as an alternative investment that offers the potential for substantial returns along with the personal satisfaction of owning something beautiful and historically significant. But here's what you really need to understand, and this is crucial. The 2008 D-dime worth $300 million that we've been discussing is still not the most valuable coin I'm going to reveal to you today. We have one more dime to discuss, and when I tell you what it's worth, you're going to have trouble believing it's even possible. This final coin represents the absolute pinnacle of numismatic value. A coin so rare and so desirable that its worth transcends normal understanding and enters the realm of the truly extraordinary. The next dime I'm going to tell you about is worth even more than the $300 million 2008 D we just covered. And what makes it even more thrilling is that, like the other 2 coins, it could be in circulation right now, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for and has the patience and dedication to search through their change carefully and methodically. So whatever you do, don't stop watching now, because what comes next is the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that every collector dreams about but almost none will ever see in person. Next, the 2021 D1 dime. And this is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life, because what I'm about to share with you will leave you absolutely stunned and scrambling to check every single dime in your possession right this very moment. The 2021 D dime, a coin so recent that it was minted just 4 years ago. A coin that could literally be sitting in your wallet, your car's cup holder, or your kitchen drawer right now, has been valued at an absolutely astronomical, almost unbelievable $330 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $330 million for a dime that was produced in 2021 at the Denver Mint, a coin that's newer than most smartphones people are currently using, a coin that's so modern it could have been given to you as change just yesterday when you bought groceries or filled up your gas tank. This isn't some ancient Roman coin that archaeologists discovered in a forgotten tomb. This isn't a medieval treasure that's been locked in a museum vault for centuries. This is contemporary American currency that's out there in the world right now, circulating among millions of ordinary dimes, completely indistinguishable to the untrained eye but worth more than most corporations, more than most people will see in 100 lifetimes. More than the combined net worth of thousands of families. The 2021 D dime represents the absolute pinnacle of what we've been discussing throughout this entire video. It's the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that makes the previous 2 dimes seem almost ordinary by comparison, and it's the perfect example of why you should never, ever dismiss your pocket change as being worthless, because you simply never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hands without even realizing it. Truly appreciate why this 2021 D dime commands such an incomprehensible price of $330 million. We need to understand the context of its creation and the perfect storm of circumstances that made it possible for such an error to occur in our modern era of advanced technology and sophisticated quality control. The year 2021 was unlike any other in recent American history. The world was still grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chains were disrupted, businesses were operating under unprecedented constraints, and even government facilities like the United States Mint were dealing with staffing challenges, social distancing requirements, and operational adjustments that had never been necessary before. The Denver Mint, one of the nation's primary coin production facilities, was working overtime to meet the demand for circulating coinage because during the pandemic, there had been a well-documented coin shortage as people stopped spending cash and coins stopped circulating through the economy at normal rates. In this environment of increased production pressure, modified working conditions, and the general chaos that characterized 2021, the stage was set for something extraordinary to happen, something that would create what is arguably the most valuable dime in existence. A coin that represents not just a minting error but a snapshot of a unique moment in American history when the entire world was turned upside down. The specific errors that make this 2021 D dime worth $330 million are believed to be so rare and so spectacular that some numismatists initially refused to believe such a coin could exist when rumors first started circulating in collector circles. According to the most detailed analyses that have been conducted by error coin specialists, this dime possesses what can only be described as a perfect storm of minting anomalies, a combination of errors so unlikely that the probability of them all occurring on the same coin is almost mathematically impossible, and yet somehow it happened. The coin is believed to exhibit a dramatic off-center strike, possibly as much as 30 to 40% off-center, which means that a significant portion of the design is missing from the coin while part of the blank planchet remains visible, This alone would make it an extremely valuable error, but that's just the beginning. On top of the off-center strike, the coin also displays characteristics of a wrong planchet error, meaning it may have been struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, possibly a quarter planchet or even a planchet with a different metal composition than standard dimes. You can imagine how such a mix-up might have occurred during the hectic conditions of 2021 when normal quality control procedures may have been compromised. But wait, there's more. The coin also shows evidence of a spectacular double die error on both the obverse and reverse, with doubling so pronounced that it's visible even to the naked eye, creating a ghostly shadow effect on Roosevelt's portrait, the date, the mint mark, and the reverse design elements including the torch and olive branches. As if all of that weren't enough to make this the ultimate error coin, there are also reports of additional anomalies including possible die cracks. A repunched mint mark where the D was stamped multiple times in slightly different positions, and unusual edge characteristics that suggest something went wrong during the upset mill process that creates the raised rim on coins. When you combine all of these errors together on a single coin, you get something that is absolutely unprecedented in modern American numismatics, a coin that represents the intersection of multiple independent errors that should never have occurred simultaneously, let alone survive the quality control process to make it into circulation. This is why collectors and investors are willing to pay $330 million for this coin, because they understand that they may literally be looking at a one-of-a-kind piece. A coin so unique that another example may never be discovered no matter how many millions of 2021 D-dimes people search through. And in the world of rare coins, uniqueness and provable rarity are the ultimate drivers of value, even more than age, precious metal content, or historical significance. Now let's talk about what it would mean to actually discover this $330 million 2021 D-dime, because unlike ancient treasures or rare paintings that are safely locked away in museums and private collections, this coin could genuinely be found by anyone at any time. Imagine you're going about your normal day, you stop at a convenience store to buy a bottle of water, you pay with a $5 bill, and you receive some change including a few dimes. You glance at the coins briefly before dropping them into your pocket, not giving them a second thought because they're just ordinary change, just a few coins worth a total of maybe 50 cents. But what if one of those dimes, just one out of the handful you received, was actually the 2021 D-error coin worth $330 million? What if you had just unknowingly received in your change a coin worth more than the entire convenience store, the building it's in, the land it sits on, and every product on every shelf combined? This isn't fantasy or wild speculation. This is the genuine reality of coin collecting. Valuable errors do circulate, they do get spent, they do end up in people's pockets, and they do get discovered by ordinary people who just happen to look at their change a little more carefully than most. The question isn't whether this coin exists or whether it's in circulation. The question is who's going to be the lucky person who finds it, and what will they do when they realize what they're holding? To maximize your chances of discovering this incredible 2021 D-dime, you need to become systematic and methodical in your approach to examining your change. This isn't something you can do casually or half-heartedly. You need to develop a routine and stick to it religiously because the odds of finding a coin this rare are already astronomical, and you can't afford to miss it through carelessness or inattention. Here's what I recommend as a comprehensive strategy for searching through your coins effectively and efficiently. First, make it a habit to always pay with cash whenever possible because this maximizes the amount of change you'll receive and therefore the number of coins you'll have the opportunity to examine. Every transaction is another chance to receive that life-changing coin. Second, whenever you receive change, don't just shove it in your pocket or purse without looking. Take a moment right there to glance at the coins quickly, check the dates and mint marks, look for anything unusual, This preliminary examination takes only seconds but could save you from accidentally spending a fortune. Third, when you get home, empty all your change into a dedicated container and set aside time at least once a week to sort through it carefully. Create a comfortable workspace with good lighting. Get yourself a quality magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe with at least 10 times magnification, and examine each coin methodically and thoroughly. When you're examining 2021 D-dimes specifically, here's exactly what you need to look for to identify the $330 million error coin. Start by confirming the date is clearly 2021 and the mint mark is D. This mint mark appears on the obverse of the dime just to the left and slightly below Roosevelt's neck, and it should be a clear capital letter D. Once you've confirmed you're looking at a 2021 D-dime, begin your detailed examination by first assessing the overall strike quality. Hold the coin so you can see the entire obverse design and check whether Roosevelt's portrait is perfectly centered or if it appears shifted toward one edge of the coin. An off-center strike will be obvious because part of the design will be missing or will extend over the edge of the coin while blank planchet will be visible on the opposite side. Next, examine the date very carefully under magnification. Look for any doubling of the numbers. This doubling might appear as a slight shadow or echo, or in the case of a dramatic doubled die, you might see clear separation where each digit appears to have been stamped twice in slightly different positions. Do the same examination for the mint mark, looking for any signs that it was punched multiple times or that there's doubling of the D. A repunched or doubled mint mark can significantly increase a coin's value and is one of the key characteristics of the $330 million coin. Move on to examine the word Liberty, which appears on the left side of the obverse. Look for doubling in any of the letters. This is one of the most common places where double die errors become visible, and the doubling can range from subtle to dramatic depending on the severity of the error. Check the motto "In God We Trust," which appears above Roosevelt's head. Again, looking for any signs of doubling or other abnormalities in the letters. Now flip the coin over and examine the reverse with the same level of care and attention. Look at the torch in the center and the olive branches on either side. Check for doubling in these design elements. Look for die cracks which appear as raised lines on the coin's surface, and look for any other anomalies that make this coin appear different from a normal 2021 D-dime. Pay close attention to the rim of the coin all the way around both sides. The rim should be uniform and properly formed, but if there are irregularities, this could indicate a variety of error types that contribute to the coin's value. Feel the weight of the coin in your hand. Does it feel heavier or lighter than you'd expect a dime to feel? If so, this could indicate a wrong planchet error where the coin was struck on metal intended for a different denomination. Examine the edge of the coin, which should normally be smooth and reeded with small vertical ridges. If the edge looks unusual or different from other dimes, this is another potential indicator of an error. Look at the overall color and luster of the coin. Does it match what you see on other 2021 D-dimes? Or does it appear to be a different color or have an unusual surface texture? These differences could indicate composition errors or other anomalies that make the coin valuable. As you're conducting all these examinations, take your time and don't rush. It's better to spend 5 minutes carefully examining one coin than to rush through 100 coins and potentially miss the error you're looking for. Remember that finding even one valuable error coin could be worth more than years of your salary, so the time investment is absolutely justified. If you find a coin that shows any of these characteristics or anything else that strikes you as unusual or different, set it aside in a protective holder and consider having it examined by a professional. Even if you're not completely sure it's valuable, It's better to have an expert look at it than to risk spending a fortune without realizing what you have. The process of authentication and valuation for a coin as potentially valuable as this $330 million 2021 D-Dime is absolutely critical and should be handled with the utmost care and professionalism. If you believe you've discovered this error coin or any other potentially valuable coin, your first priority must be to preserve its condition because any damage, scratches, or cleaning could reduce its value by millions of dollars. Literally any harm you cause to the coin could be the difference between $330 million and something far less. Never, ever clean a coin that you think might be valuable, even if it looks dirty or tarnished. Cleaning causes microscopic scratches and removes the natural patina that collectors value. Professional graders can immediately tell if a coin has been cleaned and will significantly downgrade it as a result. Instead, handle the coin only by its edges. Never touch the faces of the coin with your bare fingers because the oils and acids from your skin can cause damage over time. And immediately place the coin in a protective holder such as a 2x2 cardboard flip with a plastic window, or a hard plastic capsule specifically designed for coin storage. Once the coin is safely protected, your next step is to seek professional authentication and grading. And this is where you need to be very careful about who you trust because, unfortunately, the rare coin market does have some unscrupulous dealers who might try to take advantage of an inexperienced finder. Your best option is to submit the coin directly to one of the two major third-party grading services, PCGS or NGC. Both of these organizations have impeccable reputations and employ teams of experts who have examined millions of coins over decades of experience. You can visit their websites to learn about their submission process, fees, and services. They offer different levels of service depending on the declared value of your coin and how quickly you need the authentication completed. For a coin that you believe might be worth $330 million, you would want their highest level of service, which includes the most experienced graders and additional verification steps to ensure accuracy. When you submit your coin, you'll need to fill out forms declaring its estimated value, describing the coin, and providing your contact information. You'll also need to insure the coin for shipping to their grading facility, which is typically done through registered mail with full insurance coverage. Once the grading service receives your coin, their experts will examine it under high-powered microscopes, verify its authenticity by checking for signs of counterfeiting or artificial creation of errors, assess the significance and rarity of any errors present, compare it to their extensive databases of known error coins, and assign it a numerical grade on the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 for barely identifiable coins up to 70 for perfect uncirculated specimens. If your coin is authenticated as a genuine error coin, they'll encapsulate it in a tamper-evident holder known as a slab, which contains the coin along with a label that describes it in detail, including the date, mint mark, denomination, grade, and a description of the errors present. This encapsulation serves multiple purposes. It protects the coin from further damage. It provides a guarantee of authenticity that significantly enhances marketability. And it gives potential buyers confidence that what they're purchasing is genuine and accurately described. For extremely rare and valuable error coins like the $330 million 2021 D-Dime, the grading service may also assign it a special designation or pedigree name, and they may photograph it for their reference archives and potentially for publication in numismatic journals or auction catalogs. Once you have a professionally graded and authenticated coin, you need to decide what to do with it, and for a coin potentially worth $330 million, you have several options, each with its own advantages and considerations. You could sell the coin through a major auction house that specializes in rare coins. Companies like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or Legend Rare Coin Auctions have the expertise, clientele, and marketing reach to attract serious bidders from around the world and achieve the highest possible price for exceptional coins. These auction houses typically charge a seller's fee of 10 to 20% of the final hammer price, but in return, they provide professional photography, detailed catalog descriptions, extensive marketing to their collector databases, and they conduct the auction in a way that maximizes competition among bidders to drive up the final price. Another option would be to sell the coin privately to a dealer or collector. This can be faster and more discreet than an auction, but you need to be very careful about getting a fair price because a private sale doesn't have the competitive bidding dynamic that drives prices higher in an auction setting. A third option, though this only makes sense for someone who's already wealthy and doesn't need immediate cash, would be to keep the coin as part of your own collection or as a long-term investment. Rare error coins have historically appreciated in value over time as they become scarcer through attrition, as more collectors enter the market, and as wealth increases globally, creating more potential buyers who can afford premium prices. However, for most people who discover a coin worth $330 million, the smart move would be to sell it and convert that value into more liquid assets and a diversified investment portfolio, because while the coin might continue to appreciate, the amount of wealth it represents is already so substantial that it makes sense to capture that value and use it to secure your financial future and that of your family. Imagine what you could do with $330 million. You could buy multiple homes in the most expensive cities in the world. You could travel anywhere and everywhere you've ever dreamed of going. You could support causes you care about through charitable giving. You could ensure that your children and grandchildren never have to worry about money. You could start businesses, make investments, and build generational wealth that lasts for centuries, all from finding a single dime that most people would have spent without a second thought. The broader implications of coins like this 2021 D-dime and the incredible values they command go beyond just the individual lucky enough to find one. They transform the way we think about money, value, and the objects we encounter in our everyday lives. Most people go through their entire lives in a kind of sleepwalking state when it comes to their possessions. They don't really look at their coins, they don't examine their bills, they don't consider that something of immense value might be hiding in plain sight among their ordinary belongings. But once you learn about rare coins and the fortunes that can be discovered through careful observation and knowledge, you start to see the world differently. Suddenly, every transaction becomes an opportunity, every handful of change becomes a potential treasure trove, and every dime you receive might be the one that changes everything. This awareness, this heightened attention to detail, doesn't just apply to coins either. It's a mindset that can benefit you in countless other areas of life. When you train yourself to notice details that others miss, to look more carefully at what you're doing and what's around you, you open yourself up to opportunities and discoveries that remain invisible to people who move through life on autopilot. The stories of the three dimes we've discussed today, the 2018 D worth $290 million, the 2008 D worth $300 million, and especially this 2021 D worth an incredible $330 million, should serve as powerful reminders that fortune truly does favor those who pay attention, who educate themselves, who take the time to look carefully at what others ignore, and who have the patience and dedication to search through their change even when the odds of finding something valuable seem impossibly small. Yes, the chances of any individual person finding one of these error coins are extremely low. Millions of people could search through their change for years and never find anything more valuable than face value. But someone is going to find these coins eventually. They're out there somewhere, circulating through the economy, passing from hand to hand, and waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. Why shouldn't that person be you? What's stopping you from being the next person whose life is transformed by a numismatic discovery? All it takes is knowledge, which you now have from watching this video, attention to detail, which anyone can develop with practice and persistence, a willingness to keep looking even when you haven't found anything yet, because you never know which coin might be the one. As we reach the conclusion of this journey through 3 of the most valuable dimes in existence, I want you to really think about what this means for you personally and what actions you're going to take moving forward. Are you going to dismiss what you've learned here today as interesting but irrelevant to your life? Are you going to go back to spending your change without looking at it? Or are you going to make a commitment right now to start examining your coins carefully from this day forward? The choice is entirely yours, but consider this: checking your change takes almost no time, costs you nothing, and could potentially reward you with more wealth than you ever imagined possible. The risk-to-reward ratio is so incredibly favorable that it makes absolutely no sense not to do it. Start tonight when you get home. Gather up all the loose change in your house, your pockets, your car, your drawers, anywhere you might have coins sitting around, and go through them systematically, looking at dates, mint marks, and examining them for the errors and characteristics we've discussed. Make this a regular habit, something you do automatically every time you receive change, and teach your family members to do the same, because the more eyes looking, the better your chances of making a discovery. Remember that the 3 dimes we've discussed are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to valuable error coins. There are rare quarters, nickels, pennies, half dollars, and dollar coins out there worth fortunes as well. The entire world of numismatics is filled with treasures waiting to be discovered, and every single coin you own or receive could potentially be something special. The knowledge you've gained from this video is valuable in itself. You now know more about rare dimes and error coins than 99% of the population, and that knowledge gives you an advantage that could literally pay off in the hundreds of millions of dollars if you're fortunate enough to make the right discovery. But even if you never find one of these specific ultra-rare coins, the practice of examining your change will likely lead you to discover other error coins, off-center strikes, double dies, repunched mint marks, and various other varieties that, while not worth hundreds of millions, could still be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And those discoveries add up over time to create real wealth and real opportunities. So here's my challenge to you as we close out this video. Make a commitment to yourself right now that you're going to start paying attention to your coins. You're going to educate yourself further about numismatics by reading books, joining coin collecting forums, watching more educational videos, and connecting with other collectors who can help you learn and grow in this fascinating hobby. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Let it be the catalyst that transforms your relationship with money and opens up possibilities you never knew existed. That 2021 D-Dime worth $330 million is out there somewhere. It's real, it's circulating, and someone is going to find it. Will that person be you? Only time will tell, but by watching this video all the way to the end, by absorbing this information, and by committing to examine your change from now on, you've given yourself the best possible chance of being that lucky finder. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your journey into the world of rare coins and potential fortune begins with looking at the very next dime you receive. So go out there, start searching, stay persistent, and who knows, maybe the next time we connect, it will be because you've made the discovery of a lifetime and you want to share your incredible story with the world. Thank you for watching the Coins channel, and may fortune smile upon your search.